Hi there, this is Stargazer, and today I am ranking my top 25 Star Wars characters. Now, these are my personal favorite characters, so no hate if your favorites aren't here. Maybe someday I will do an objective top 25 Star Wars characters. With that, let's get started. Number 25, Hera Syndulla. Even when there are explosions all around me and things are at their worst, I feel like I'm at my best. This explanation of Hera's need to fly and lead in the midst of chaos cements her as one of my favorite Star Wars characters. She's the heart of the Rebels crew, an elite pilot without needing the spotlight, a natural leader, not a chosen one, a rebel to her core, and emotionally vulnerable without losing toughness. What really makes Hera is that she proves you don't need the Force to be one of the strongest characters in Star Wars. She leads, protects, and inspires purely through who she is. Number 24, Cal Kestis. Cal Kestis is one of the most compelling Star Wars protagonists because he feels earned. He's not the most powerful, most important, or most destined, but that's exactly why he stands out. He's a survivor first, hero second. He has growth you actually get to feel by being a video game protagonist. He has a different kind of Jedi philosophy outside of the rigidness of the old Jedi Order. He struggles with the dark side and doesn't ignore it. What really makes Cal Kestis is that he embodies resilience. He's not the strongest or the most legendary. He's the one who keeps going despite fear, loss, and doubt. And in a galaxy full of larger-than-life heroes, that kind of grounded determination hits different. Number 23, Jango Fett. Now, Jango Fett is amazing because he's the blueprint, literally and thematically, for some of the most iconic elements in the Star Wars universe. He's the original template of the best army I've seen in Star Wars. He has peak bounty hunter energy that outshines the aura of Boba Fett in the original trilogy. He's got a Mandalorian legacy with a twist. And he's a different kind of father figure with a quiet humanity that yearns for legacy. Through skill, precision, and sheer presence, Jango Fett becomes both a legendary individual and genetic backbone of an entire army, which is pretty wild legacy for a simple man trying to make his way through the universe. Number 22, Sheev Palpatine. Sheev Palpatine is awesome not because he's relatable or heroic, but because he's terrifyingly effective. He's one of the best written villains in all of Star Wars precisely because everything he does is calculated, patient, and devastating. He's the ultimate long game strategist and master manipulator. He has power hidden behind a mask, he is the purest embodiment of the dark side, and he has a scene-stealing presence. What makes Palpatine is that he's not just a villain you defeat. He's a villain who wins for a long time. He reshapes the entire galaxy through intellect, manipulation, and patience, proving that in Star Wars, the most dangerous weapon is strategy. Number 21, Luthen Rael. Luthen represents the most morally complicated and strategically vital kind of hero in the entirety of Star Wars. To me, he's Sidious's inverse. A person who chooses to become something ugly in order to fight something worse. He's the definition of necessary sacrifice leadership, and that monologue reveals everything. He's a master strategist with a dual identity done right. He's morally gray in a way that matters, which makes the rebellion feel real. What makes Luthen Rael is that he embodies the cost of resistance. He's not the symbol on the posters, he's the person who makes the symbol possible, even if history will never remember his name. Number 20, Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma is awesome because she represents a very different kind of hero. One who fights not with blasters or the Force, but with patience, restraint, and moral endurance. She's the political heart of the rebellion who sacrifices everything in silence. She is a grounded counterpart to extremist methods, and her leadership style feels real. What makes Mon Mothma is that she proves courage doesn't always look like action. It can look like patience, restraint, and quiet persistence in the face of an oppressive system that demands you either comply or break. Number 19, Chewbacca. The survivor of 3 galactic wars, Chewbacca deserves all the respect he gets. He's a clear example of a character whose impact comes from loyalty, presence, and consistency, rather than flashy exposition or complex dialogue. He has strength that is actually meaningful to the story. He communicates without needing words, and he's an emotional anchor in the chaotic stories. Simply, Chewbacca is a living piece of Star Wars history. What makes Chewbacca is that he doesn't need to dominate scenes or deliver speeches to matter. He shaped some of the most important moments in Star Wars, and the story wouldn't feel the same without him. Number 18, R2-D2. Plain and simple, none of our main characters would be alive without R2-D2. So if you love Star Wars, you have to love R2-D2. He's one of the most consistently important, intelligent, and heroic characters, despite never speaking a human language or seeking recognition. He's basically the galaxy's most reliable problem solver. He carries critical history and secrets, and has underrated bravery in every era. He's a key companion to legendary heroes, and he outlives and outlasts almost everything. What makes R2-D2 is that he proves heroism doesn't require words, a lightsaber, or even a humanoid form. He's small, often underestimated, and constantly overlooked. But the entire galaxy repeatedly depends on what he does best, saving the day. Number 17, Rex. Captain Rex represents one of the most human stories in Star Wars. A soldier built for obedience who chooses individuality, loyalty, and morality instead. He starts as the perfect soldier, and becomes so much more. He questions orders when it matters most, and he has real emotional weight. He proves leadership is earned through experience, not rank alone. What makes Rex is that he turned what could have been a soldier template into one of the most emotionally rich characters in Star Wars. He starts as a clone built for war, but becomes a person defined by choice, loyalty, and conscience. Number 16, Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon Jinn represents a very different kind of Jedi, one who trusts instinct over institutions, and the living force over rigid doctrine. He sees what others refuse to see. He's a maverick. He challenges the system, not just the villains, and he's a master of calm confidence. Most importantly, his legacy is bigger than his screen time. What makes Qui-Gon is that he feels like a Jedi ahead of his time. He trusts the Force in a way others have forgotten, and even though the Order doesn't always agree with him, his instincts end up shaping the fate of the galaxy in ways no one else could have predicted. Number 15, Count Dooku. Count Dooku is one of the most elegant and ideologically complex villains in Star Wars. Less a chaotic evil force, and more a fallen idealist who chooses control over hope. He's a fallen Jedi with real philosophical weight. He has refined power, not brute force, and he's a political villain as much as a Sith Lord. He has a quiet tragedy of awareness as a mentor and manipulator. What makes Count Dooku is that he represents the danger of principled certainty without humility. He's not driven by madness or hatred. He's driven by belief, refinement, and control, which makes him one of the most sophisticated villains in Star Wars. Number 14, Asajj Ventress. A Jedi, Sith, bounty hunter, and nearly everything in between. I mean, what's not to love? Asajj Ventress is one of the most layered villain to anti-hero characters in all of Star Wars. Someone who starts as a weapon of darkness and gradually becomes a person trying to define her own identity beyond it. She has a tragic origin that matters. She is a standout apprentice with a combat style that feels aggressive and personal. She goes from assassin to anti-hero after she is discarded by the very system that created her. Her relationship with identity is the core of her story, which she earns instead of inheriting. What makes Asajj Ventress is that she refuses to stay in one role. She starts as a weapon of the Sith, becomes a weapon for hire, and eventually becomes someone, imperfectly but genuinely, to define herself outside of anyone else's control. Number 13, Yoda. Yoda embodies the core philosophy of Star Wars more than any other character. Power through restraint, wisdom through experience, and strength through humility. He's one of the greatest Force users ever, and gives wisdom that actually shapes the galaxy. He represents the consequences of institutional failure. He is small in size, but has a massive presence. Yoda represents the idea that true mastery isn't about domination or control. It's about understanding yourself, the Force, and your limits so completely that you no longer need to prove anything at all. Number 12, Rey. Rey represents persistence, adaptability, and self-defined identity. A hero who starts with nothing and slowly learns what she is capable of without waiting for permission or legacy. She begins with zero advantages and still rises. Her identity is central to conflict as she challenges the legacy-based power struggles. Rey's story is more personal interpretation of the Jedi journey. Rey embodies that heroism isn't about where you come from. It's about what you choose to do with what you discover about yourself along the way. even when the answers are unclear. Number 11, Ben Solo. Ben Solo is one of the most compelling Star Wars figures because he's not built like a traditional villain or hero. He's a walking contradiction, and that tension is exactly what makes him awesome. He's the first emotionally raw Force user in the saga, and his internal conflict is the core of his character. His relationship with Rey and his unique presence are standout elements. Ben Solo is messy, conflicted, and deeply human. He isn't the ideal Jedi or Sith, he's something in between, and that makes his journey one of the most captivating in the entire saga. Number 10, Padme Amidala. Padme Amidala represents a kind of strength that Star Wars doesn't always spotlight: intelligence, conviction, and moral courage without relying on the Force. From a young age, she is one of the strongest political voices and leaders in the galaxy. Padme's courage is also physical. She holds her own. Her tragic relationship with Anakin also adds another layer to why she is so compelling. Padme proves that strength isn't just about power. It's about standing firm in your beliefs when the galaxy is going the other way. Number 9, Maul. Maul evolves from a visually striking villain into one of the most complex, tragic, and relentless figures in all of Star Wars. He's driven by pure survival and obsession. His rivalry with Obi-Wan becomes one of the most personal conflicts in the saga, and his transformation into an anti-hero desiring the fall of the Empire is icing on the cake. Maul refuses to stay simple. He starts as a silent enforcer and becomes a symbol of rage, survival, ambition, and ultimately emptiness. He shows what happens when someone lives only for revenge, and how even the most fearsome villains can become something deeply human by the end. Number 8, Leia Organa. Leia is the definition of strength under pressure, combining leadership, courage, intelligence, and emotional resilience in a way few characters ever match. Leia lives to flip expectations from the moment we meet her. She's one of the best leaders in the saga, and while others around her falter, she never gives in to the dark side. She has the heart of a rebel. And Leia proves that true power isn't about dominance. It's about endurance, leadership, and never backing down from what's right, no matter the cost. Number 7, Han Solo. Han starts as the ultimate self-serving rogue and ends up one of the most loyal, courageous heroes in the entire saga, and that transformation feels completely real. Han's return during the Death Star battle alone puts him in my top 10. On top of that, Han is full of personality, and his dynamics with other characters are a huge part of his appeal. Han Solo shows you don't have to start a hero to become one. Sometimes the most meaningful courage comes from choosing to care when it would be easier not to. Number 6, Kanan Jarrus. Kanan Jarrus is one of the most human characters in Star Wars, a survivor who rebuilds himself into a true leader without ever losing his flaws or his heart. He's cautious, a little cynical, and unsure of himself. That makes him immediately relatable. What makes him stand out is that he chooses to become a Jedi again. Kanan's strong relationships and ultimate sacrifice make him a true Jedi. Kanan proves the Jedi ideal isn't about being flawless. It's about continuing to grow, even after failure, fear, and loss. Number 5, Cassian Andor. Cassian represents a different kind of hero in Star Wars, one built on sacrifice, moral complexity, and quiet determination rather than destiny or flashy heroics. He's immediately distinct because he's not an idealist. His loyalty to the rebellion is based on purity. It's earned. Cassian's relationship with others and willingness to act when others hesitate makes him one of the most unsung heroes in Star Wars history. Cassian proves heroism doesn't always look clean or inspirational in the moment. Sometimes it looks like difficult choices, quiet sacrifice, doing the right thing even when no one will ever fully know what it costs you. Number 4, Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka has one of the most complete and meaningful character arcs in the saga, starting as an impulsive Padawan and evolving into a wise, independent Force wielder who defines her own path. She learns not just from victories, but from mistakes made in a galaxy-wide war. When Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order, she doesn't stop being good. She stops being a part of something she no longer believes in. That decision reshapes everything. What then makes her awesome is she never becomes cynical. She suffers betrayal, war, loss, and exile, but she never abandons compassion. Ahsoka proves you don't need to follow a system to be a hero. You just need to keep choosing the right path, even when the path is yours alone. Number 3, Anakin Skywalker. Anakin is awesome because he's the most emotionally intense, deeply flawed, and consequential character in Star Wars, basically the franchise's entire tragedy wrapped into one person. His scale as a character is on another level. His strength become vulnerabilities, and his fall isn't sudden, it's a series of emotional compromises. As Darth Vader, he becomes one of the most iconic villains ever created, but even then, Anakin never fully disappears. Anakin's story isn't just about power or destiny. It's about how even the most gifted person can fall, and how redemption is still possible even after everything seems lost. He's the heart of the entire saga, a great hero, a great villain, and its tragedy all at once. Number 2, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan embodies what Jedi are supposed to be at their best: disciplined, compassionate, and unwavering, even when everything around him falls apart. Even when facing danger, betrayal, or loss, Obi-Wan doesn't let his emotions override his judgment. He's not cold or detached. What makes him compelling is that he cares deeply. His strength also comes from resilience. Obi-Wan represents endurance and integrity. He loses almost everything, but never loses his sense of right and wrong. In a galaxy defined by chaos, he's the steady hand that keeps hope alive. Number 1, Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker represents the core Star Wars idea better than anyone else. That heroism is about where you start, but what you choose to become. His journey is compelling because he starts as someone who feels small in a vast galaxy. He is defined by hope and growth under pressure. His defining trait isn't power, it's restraint. He's more capable than he ever believed he could be. Luke Skywalker shows that greatness comes from choice, not destiny. He's proof that even an ordinary person can change the fate of the galaxy, not by avoiding fear or failure, but by facing both and still choosing hope. Thank you for watching, and remember, the Force will be with you.